Here we have a spreadsheet done in Google Sheets. I've made a copy and edited some things out of a student data table that they did in the lab. They were heating up popcorn and they were varying the heat setting to see how long it took for the popcorn to pop. They also have a data table here that shows how many were unpopped at the different heat settings. Now, the last column they have in their data table is their average, and there's no numbers here, and there's no need to use your handheld calculator because all spreadsheets will calculate this for you. You just need to know how to do it. So up here in the toolbar, there's functions, and you drop it down, and it gives you all these choices. So you need to be in the cell where you want this math to occur. I want an average, and it wants to know, the question mark is asking which cells. You can type in the reference, like I could type in E4 through G4. I could also just highlight these, and it shows up E4 colon G4, and those are the numbers I want, so I hit the enter key, and it gives me a number. Now, if I pop back up here, in that cell, in the bar, it shows that there's math done. I didn't enter that number, it tells me it was calculated. Also, you notice that there is a blue box at this corner. If I hover over it and so my cursor turns into a plus sign, I can bring that down, and now that math follows and it makes adjustments for the line that it's on. Okay, so that's a quick and easy way. You can even have that formula in there so that as you put data in, the average is calculated for you. So again, I will do it again. I will click average. I will tell it I want these 3 cells. I go back and I do this. Now, just because the math shows this, okay, there could be more data. Now I need to look and see. I was keeping time, and so I can't go past the hundreds place with stopwatches. So even on my average, I can't go past the hundreds. Now you notice on the data here, everything's a whole number. Like how would you count half a kernel? So we need to highlight these, and then over here we will do decreased decimal so that we only have 1 digit because there has to be a whole number. All right, so averages are done. Now you're going to have to do a graph. You need to figure out what you need to graph. If you're going to graph everything, you would highlight everything. You can't just hit the little icon and have it make a graph. You need to highlight what you want. This is a symbol for making a graph. Google Excel calls it a chart. Okay, and it gives you options. Okay, so it says this is the data. Is this what you want it to look like, or did you want the bars to go this way? Maybe you don't want bars. Okay. Maybe you want a different kind. Maybe you want a scatter plot graph. I don't know why, but maybe you do on this one. Now, every graph is different, but that is how you pick the type of graph. Probably don't need a radar chart. Probably don't need a gauge chart. All right. Typically, stay away from line graphs most generally, because it's going to connect the points when you don't want them connected. So if you do want something that looks like a line graph, but you don't want your points connected, choose a scatter plot. All right. Customize is where you get to do all the fancy little things. So what title do you want? What font do you want? Let's try to stay from Comic Sans. That's not a very professional looking font. Okay. You can change your background color. I would really recommend you not do that. It's better to have color on your points and have the background be white or colorless as it is now. This is where you get to add all your titles. Okay. Heat setting versus time to pop. Something like that. Okay, and you notice it shows up there. The one hiccup on Google Excel or Google Spreadsheet is that it won't center, or I haven't figured out how to. Oh, hang on. Here's the centering thing. I've just figured it out. You want to center right here. There you go. Centered your title. You want to bold your title, you can. Okay. For whatever reason, black is actually not the default color. I don't know why, but it isn't. Okay. If you want to have other things labeled, like your horizontal axis, like what is that going to be called? Again, color or font size. Oops. That one's centered. There you go. And if you want the y-axis, the vertical axis to have a title, you have to click it so that you get there. So all the axes are done up here. Okay. Series is if you have multiple things, so this is what the different colors mean. If you want error bars, trend lines, if you want the font to be bigger, this is where you change that. If you would like, whoops, back to series. If you don't want circles, this is your chance to pick a different shape. Legend, if you don't want it to the right, you can have it inside the graph, bottom, top, that kind of stuff. By convention, we tend to put it to the right. Same thing with the font on the axes and the color on those numbers, that sort of thing. I would like to have my heat value start at 0, so I'm going to put a 0 there. Okay. Same thing, make all that black. If I want it, if it wasn't at 0, I can make it be 0. Grid lines, black. That was a horizontal axis, vertical axis. Make them black. If you want to have minor grid lines, okay, 3 grid lines gives you 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay, so 10 divided by 4 is not the greatest. Okay, so that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's a nice interval. Okay, everyone thinks make it 5 because 10 divided by 5, but you gotta remember that is going to put 6 lines in there, or 6 spaces in there, and you don't want 6 spaces. This is where you get to change color and that kind of stuff. If you want to have more vertical lines, so that you don't have to estimate where 1 is, you could do that. So that's how you would set that up. Now, I'm not specifically telling you how to make the graph or what kind of graph to make, because I want to see if you understand how to set up a graph on your own. Okay, the data isn't even going to be the same. So, but all the keystrokes and that kind of stuff that I showed you how to use, how to set up an average, where the symbol is for making a chart, there's the symbol for adding your functions, all that is correct. I just didn't show you with your exact data table because I want to see what you can do on your own.